Hi, folks. Back in 2007, 2000, yeah, or so, I started dating a lady, Congolese from Congo. Her mother was black, her father was white, multiracial. And I met her at a nightclub. And I used to go clubbing often. I went by myself a lot of the time. And I would sneak in, I would fake the stamp, and you know, I get caught sometimes. Terrible stories. I was just so reckless on so many levels. I was drinking and driving, and I'd go clubbing. I couldn't hold down a job, whatever it was, and I'd go to the club and just try and meet people and possibly a potential lady. And so I met her. I met this girl, and she caught my attention because she was just looking at the dance floor and just like observing people, and I could see there was something different about her. And I don't know how much detail is necessary to get into, but we kind of clicked and hit it off in a way. And I mean, I don't know which way. Which It's not the point of this talk is that we dated for several years after that, and it wasn't a healthy relationship. I mean, I wasn't in a healthy state in my life at all. Obviously, and so wasn't she. And she was, I think, 4 years or 5 years younger than me, so she's about 22 or so. And back then, I started going through my transformation and my death rebirth, if you will. And I just found that, you know, how do I put it? Not that you couldn't, in relationships, what I'm finding even today, I'm just using this as an example. I mean, I'm using Lorraine, that's her name, as an example. The lady that I was dating, just to sort of, and on similar themes that are going on in my life, just people in my life in relationships that they can't take the initiative. They can't think out the box. They can't carry the weight and not the responsibility of the relationship, but like when I moved to the country with Lorraine, because I wanted to get out of the city. I'll talk about that another time. Wanted to move out of the city. I felt it was the end of the world. 2012, and I moved to a farm. I moved to the country. I got my father to invest in shares in the farm, and I was moving lock stock, with Lorraine. And Lorraine, it was completely the wrong idea because she was studying to be accounts, so she wanted to be an accountant and work for a bank, and I wanted to you know be out in the country and be self-sustaining and with my hands in the soil and my feet in the river or the dams, and it's very very different desires and interests. And it wasn't going to work out anyway. When I moved to the farm, she was the least a bit interested. She just couldn't pull her weight in any area. Like, she just couldn't go beyond any comfort zone of hers. And we broke up. There was just no ways it was going to work. It was a messy breakup, and it was a relief for me to be out of that relationship. It was very unhealthy. We were completely codependent on each other from so many levels. It's a very, very difficult time for me, you know. And I was living with her in the city, in the heart of the city, in an apartment. It was very difficult for me. She couldn't really quite understand. For her, she was very passionate about hair, makeup, nails, dress up, going to party. Like that, she had all the innovation in the world for, all the creativity in the world for, all the enthusiasm, all the passion for, right? That's what she had, like checking Facebook, things like that. That was her highlight. But other things, everything else, kind of, well, most things, just she didn't have any passion for or desire for or any interest, like in maybe cooking something that's different, a different kind of dish. And no, it was just the same kind of food. It was based on takeaways, microwave meals, things of that nature. And it was just, and for myself, I was getting healthy and I was trying to eat healthy and I was trying to just steam my vegetables. Now I'm not a good cook, so I'd steam vegetables. And no, but just as the person who I was, just interested in so many different areas of study and philosophy and psychology and spirituality and consciousness, and wanting to get out of my comfort zones. and not just be sort of the rinse repeat sort of life. And I didn't have a job at the time, or did I? Can't remember how I was making ends meet. I think I barely was. She was studying. I think we were living in her father's. That's what we were doing. So we were living rent free, and I don't know. I managed to get by somehow or another. But like, I didn't have my shit together at all. You can be sure. And what I'm saying was that, like, for myself, I was the only one that was saying, let's go for a hike. Let's go out into nature. Let's go to a weekend away. For her, she's just happy with the TV, the internet, and the cell phone, and that was that. And it was just like, it wasn't so much cell phone back then, I think. I can't remember exactly, but it was a lot of the internet and TV. And I just, I would suggest going camping. I would suggest just anything that was different, not having to, maybe, I don't know, let's go to a restaurant, that, or she could come up, let's try this restaurant, let's go to that nightclub, let's go to, that bar. And, she didn't come up with any ideas, any innovations of any kind, thinking out the box, anything novel, nothing. And obviously it was very draining for me. It was very hard on me, and from that point of view. And I found that with most of my relationships that I've been in, like, I'm in one currently now. I haven't really spoken about it. It's a lady, an African lady. Yeah, we've been together, I would say. I don't know if you call it. I mean, she's my best friend. She's my confidant. But we're very different people. She's 4 years younger than me. And she's a Zulu lady. I've kept it confidential because I don't really want my family to find out. But I suppose with this new channel, less people know about it. And so I'm willing to take the chance. And we had trouble in our relationship in the very beginning. I met her at a very, very, very lonely time in my life. And I wasn't expecting to get into a relationship with her. She was a masseuse. Working at a tire place, not a sensual tire place, sensual massage, a legitimate massage. And I met her, and her place their business was closing down, and I said to her, I just came into a bit of cash, because I actually sold the farm when I moved back from the farm, and the money, that my father invested, said I could keep some. And so I opened up a massage shop, and she started as a therapist there, and at the same time I moved into a house. I was renting a house. I was staying in a very small cottage, and I managed to move into a house with another friend of mine, another African, a black guy, Sibu Sisu, I've spoken about before. Bastards end up stealing from me, and we're not friends anymore. And so my partner in crime, if you want to call it that, I don't know, my best friend, this lady, she also, she didn't have a place to stay. So I said, do you want to rent a room? And she was like, cool. And she moved in, and, things just started moving in that direction. And so we're working together, we're living together. And it just we became an item. I don't know if you want to call it that. I don't know. Emotionally involved, physically involved, yes. It's not a romantic. It's not romance, right? It's so much to be said on this. But it's not somebody that I would think to myself that I would have spent so much time with and grown. And there were breaking moments. There were times that I had enough, and I just couldn't bear it anymore. She was cell phone, TV, makeup, hair, nails, fashion, drinking, binge drinking, bad shit. I remember when we first moved into the house, and she arrived in the house, and I said, here's the rooms, whatever it was. She was like, so where's the satellite dish? I said, I don't know. I haven't switched on a TV for like the last 5 years. She's like, what? No. Got to get a big TV. She was adamant, like the first few days that we were there. I was thought, oh, and then the TV went on. I'm like, I haven't had a TV in my house when I was living on the farm before, in some cottages, I hadn't had a TV, and whatsoever. TV went on. And there were moments in the relationship, breaking points, where I had enough. I was like on the floor in a fetal position, praying to God, saying, "What do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now?" She's employed, she's running the shop for me, in a way. She wasn't managing. She wasn't just never pulled her weight. Just couldn't. Just the only thing she was good at was social networks, watching TV, drinking, doing makeup, doing hair, and those kind of things. And I was at breaking points. Even her job, she was no good at it. Didn't take it seriously, lazy, disinterested. Rather went window shopping, go to town, see which wigs are on sale, and and I was in the thick of it with her. We lived together, we worked together. I couldn't manage the massage shop. I spent a lot of money. Had a 2-year lease. I wasn't going to find somebody else at this stage. It was horrific, and she just wasn't growing, and I was really, really in the shit. And there were breaking points, and I said to the heavens, I cried. I was crying. I mean, I was so livid. She would come home 5:30 in the morning, pissed drunk. Phone off, wasn't answering. I hadn't slept a wink the whole night. She'd come in, whatever it is. I don't want to hear. Okay, we were living in the same room together. We moved in together. I'm saying whatever it was, and it was just so bad. It was just so horrific. With Lorraine as well, the Congolese girl, I had same situations. Lorraine would go out and drink and party when I stopped my drinking and I cleared up my act, and she would come home like 2:30 in the morning. I remember, and it wasn't. And she had her place. I was staying in my own cottage, and she'd come home drunk. And my landlords in the main house, they were, very, very sort of tyrannical people. Didn't want like a pin drop after like 10 o'clock at night, or people coming or whatever it was. And Lorraine would rock up like at 2:30 drunk, and I would say, "Please just go home," and she'd be outside, screaming, "Open the gate!" And like I would open the gate, and she'd come in, and I'd say, "Please be quiet." She'd be so abusive. She'd be like, "You're just so serious, and you never want to have a," and I was probably serious. "You don't want to have a good time, and I don't care what these people have to say." She was a bad drunk. She was an aggressive drunk. Whatever. It was just a man. My current lady now, Mandy. She also used to be an aggressive drunk. I can tell you horrific stories. I've had to call the police, or the police were called on me. And someone put in a taxi. She was so drunk. This is when we were in Durban. This is when I lived in Johannesburg at the time. Now we're in Durban. We're staying at my brother's place. And she was so drunk that somebody put her in a taxi, and the taxi arrived at my brother's place. It was like an apartment on the beach. Mandy arrived. She was pissed drunk. The taxi driver took her cell phone. And the next thing, the cops are knocking at the door. Now, there was ganja on the table. The ganja was illegal at that time. Cops arrive, knocking at the door. They say, Mandy vomited in this taxi's car. Folks, I can't tell you the pain. She vomited. He said, "Come have a look." I went to go have a look. The side of she just obviously went like, I'm serious. And so the taxi driver took her phone as sort of, payment. Then he felt bad about it because, we can call the cops on him, but he called the cops on me, and he came in. The cop said, "We want $1,000 because this guy's lost all his business for the night." Mandy was like, "I don't give a shit." This was years ago. I was breaking, and then when I got back to Joburg, I was so codependent, but also I was so alone. I was so lonely. I was so desperate, folks. I was in such a desperate situation, and I had no one to turn to. I've been lonely my whole life. I mean, Mandy's and my mother are the closest people physically to me in my whole life, and that's it. I got no friends. I mean, I got no real friends, folks. Let's put it that way. I'm not an antisocial guy. I can meet people all the time, but I just can't find people to connect with. And so there were breaking moments. I can tell you many, many, many stories with Mandy of breaking moments, and Lorraine. Breaking moments. I would get down on my knees sometimes and beg to Lorraine, to not make a fuss when she came to my place drunk and whatever it is. And you can't believe just what I put up with. And I don't know why. There was just nowhere for me to go. There was just nowhere for me to turn. I didn't know anybody out of the city. It was like a Truman Show for me. There was just nowhere else but here. Well, in Truman, he could have gone to Fiji, but I was going nowhere, folks. I was going nowhere. I had no money. I was going through this massive transformation, a spiritual rebirth, death story, whatever it was. I don't know. It was hectic. It was just, you know, gruesome. I mean, waking up to the evils of the world, the matrix of the world, living in the city for myself in an apartment with a very, very unhealthy codependent person. I mean, myself and Lorraine. And then Mandy living in Johannesburg. It was terrible. Signed into a 2-year lease, 1-year lease in this house. It was just horrific. Anyways, with Mandy as well, no interest in. She wouldn't be interested in making meals to cook. I'm not a good cook, and I can't learn how to cook. It's just not my thing. You can judge me all you want. I don't care. I just don't know how to cook. I've tried, and I make such a mess. And I just waste and I waste. I just cannot do it, and I don't want to know. It's just not in me. But with Mandy, again, completely her whole life prioritized around cell phone, drinking, partying, friends, selfies, dress up, etc., etc. It's been the story of my life. We're still together, if you want to call it together. She's much better now. She's grown. If she didn't grow, I would have been finished. And I've said I had those moments of breaking moments where I would get down in a fetal position on my knees and just pray to the heavens and say, what must I do now? And a voice would come back and say, just carry on, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. And I would listen to that voice. I just didn't have any support to go anywhere else, to do anything else. I tried my hand on the farm. I went to the farm for 1.5 years. I put all my money into it. I put all my effort into it. It almost, which I'll do another talk on someday, almost was the death of me. Really, almost was the death of me. Living on the farm with psychopaths, ex-convicts, heroin addicts, cocaine addicts, just pedophiles, just the absolute worst of the worst people. And I went there with the greatest intentions to make some kind of Project Gaia, some kind of self-sustaining farm project of spiritual enlightenment and conscious, collective of, group of people, whatever it was. This world has let me down. The people of this world have let me down. And it is what it is. When I say it, I'm not saying it from a victimized point of view. Maybe some of it's victimized. But I'm just literally looking at the reality of things. I'm just seeing the reality of things. I'm appreciating what it's about. And I'm appreciating it. Because that's the journey of this life. Anyway, I can go on and on. But the thing is that, even with Mandy, it's so she's a lot better. Otherwise, we wouldn't be together. I mean, I've managed to financially secure myself. And I don't know what I would do without her, because I just don't find anybody even close to just being able to, I don't know, be healthy with, to a certain degree. She's better now, but I mean, she cooks the same meals. I got to tell her, try and introduce a new meal to cook, something else. I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat fast foods, whatever it is. So I do have a lot of home cooking. She used to be terrible at it. Maybe one meal a week. I was left on my own a lot of the time, But now she's been better since the lockdown. She's obviously been a whole lot better. And so, but again, there's very barely any innovation in her life. Very little innovation for creativity. I mean, I've got a garden going. She's not interested really in every now and again she'll poke out and see, the tomatoes are doing okay, the cucumbers. But if she's cooking something, she won't even think to say, do you have peas in the garden that I can use? Beans. Do you have spinach that I can use? Do you have this? She's just not involved at all. She's not involved in my conscious life whatsoever. She's not involved in my YouTube channel. She doesn't know that I got a new channel. She doesn't know. She does nothing. She's not interested how many videos I've gotten. She never watched a video of mine. She was completely not interested. It's just not her thing whatsoever. And we have meaningful conversations, and I mean, she's, and to a certain degree, and I understand, I'm sensitive enough to understand that she's not as can go the depth that I'd like her to go. But, her life is very simple. It's very, very simple, and it's annoying because she doesn't take initiative. If there's oranges, We juice oranges. I mostly juice it. I mostly had most of the chores in the house because again, most of the time, I would say most of her time, if she's not walking in a shopping mall or showering or sleeping, she's got a screen in front of her. She's on her phone or on the iPad or watching TV 90% of the time. If she's on the toilet, she's on her phone. I mean, so am I, but she's like, if she goes for a walk, if she's cleaning the dishes, she's got her phone playing Netflix or something like that. She's got something going all the time. And I've had this discussion with her. I was saying, just be still. Just don't have all the stimulation going on. Or don't have the TV and your iPad and your iPhone and your phone going at the same time. It's like, for heaven's sake. And that's where all of her energy and concentration goes to. And so a lot of the things she's mindless about. Like, she doesn't look at the oranges and says, look, they're going off, maybe I should juice them. I'll juice them and I'll put them. No, I got to juice them. So majority of the things in the house are my job, fall under, my. For her, she's got the washing, the cleaning, the ironing, and the cooking. That's about it. She doesn't pay the bills. She doesn't earn a salary. I support her in that way. And for her, she enjoys window shopping. She likes to go for walks in nature, but she doesn't really push it. I try and get her to walk on the promenade, on the beach. She's not interested, and like she'd like a nice, to be fit, but she doesn't have the discipline for it whatsoever. She's lazy. She's absolutely lazy. But heaven forbid I call her lazy. She's a very sweet woman. She's got a nice sense of humor. I mean, I must say, and she puts up with me, and she's probably the only woman that could put up with me. She's probably the only woman that could. Looking at the time, yeah. She could probably be the only woman who could put up with me. Just for my depth and just not. I mean, I think all of her friends probably think she has landed with her ass in the butter. Not just financially in that way. She doesn't have to work, but like just the kind of guy that I am. Like there's no question about it. They think that she couldn't have done any better than me, and I agree. I absolutely agree. And it's been tough, but it's tough because I put a lot of pressure on her to grow, and she does grow in small amounts, but to the capacity that I think she can. I don't know, maybe she could probably grow more, but she's just not interested. Again, the massive distraction of the cell phone, the internet, the social medias, whatever it is. So much of just going places is reduced to taking photos of the place, not of actually being present in the place. Go to a waterfall, selfies in front of the waterfall, right? Uploading the thing, checking, while you're sitting at the waterfall. There's no direct experience. Barely ever with anything is a direct experience with her. She has no existential questions, angst, anxieties, depression. She's just easygoing. She doesn't have trouble sleeping. She falls asleep in front of the TV. And I have to switch off the TV, then tell her to switch off her phone as well, or whatever it is. And she's just easygoing. On the weekends, she's very high-spirited. She wants to go with her friends, go for drinks. She doesn't drink that much anymore. She doesn't binge drink anymore. She's not even allowed to. And she can't come home at a late hour as well. So I put my foot down in many areas. But, she's very young-minded. But that's also a lot of the culture here. It's a lot of the Zulu people as well. They're very, very young-minded. Very childish in many ways. Very irresponsible. I mean, so are English, Anglo-Saxons or whatever it is. White people, they are, but it's in different ways. And so, like, she's not interested in politics. She's not interested in, like, conspiracy. She's not interested at all. I showed her the Truman Show the other day for the first time. And she watched it. She's entertained, but she only sees it as entertainment. She doesn't take anything from it. She doesn't see anything to take from it. There's nothing. It's just a movie. It's just entertainment, if that makes sense, And so, a lot of the time, I mean, there's much I can miss. She doesn't give me the feedback of who I am in a good way. She can't really, give me that and appreciate my depth and my spiritual part of me and whatever it is, But again, so for her, it's a very sort of wash, repeat lifestyle in that way. Lack of innovation, lack of thinking out the box, no, did I say imagination? No creativity whatsoever. No. Well, there is creativity in makeup, in hair. It's the same story. It's just the same story, for her. It's just the same story. Am I going to get married? No. Do I want children? No. No, I don't even think she could be a mother. I mean, in her culture, it's very, very bizarre. It's highly unusual. she's probably like fits 1% of the population, you know, because by her age, all her friends had children by the age they were 20. Most of her friends, 2 or 3 kids. Sorry, she has got one friend who's a lesbian, so she doesn't have children, but she's a lesbian, so you know. But majority of her friends, and the thing is that like the mothers don't even raise the daughters, the mothers and the fathers are not around at all. It's generally the grandmother raises the children, and the daughters are running around and still partying and drinking and dressing up and social medias and things like that. And so it's time it doesn't. There are better examples, but they're very few. They're very, very few of Mandy's friends. Her friends are really just are the most sort of not superficial, but just so one-dimensional, so low IQ'd, so low IQ. Like I can't have a conversation with any of them. There's nothing stimulating about it. There's nothing. They're a bunch of high school girls. That's it. I mean, Mandy's better than them, but they're a bunch of high school girls. And that's it. And they haven't grown up, and they're in their 30s, they're mid-30s, whatever it is, mothers, but they're not mothers. They're not mothers, if you ask me, right? And there are exceptions to the rule, but very far and few between. So there's no stimulation. There's no stimulating conversation. I don't speak Zulu, thank goodness. I don't have to hear all the crap that goes on. I don't know if you see all the detritus that goes on these TV shows and everything like that. I don't have to be exposed to that. I'm running out of time here, folks. I'm doing this with my hand so I can, because the background's white, so I can see the time here. And so there's no desire to connect with nature, to go into, see the stars at night. There's nothing. There is no stars at night. There's nothing. There's my fiance, my 90-day fiance, South African Idols, social media, Candy Crush, all the time. And then just talking on the phone with her friends, and that's it. And these are parts of her that I have accepted, but it makes it very hard for me. And I would say, she's the 99%, the person in my life all the time, 24/7, in a way. My father doesn't know about it because my father's a religious Jewish man, and my brothers don't really know about it either. My mother know about it. It just works out better that way. They don't need to know. It's not going to help anything. In fact, it'll make things worse. It'll make things worse in my relationship. When I was with Lorraine, this Congolese multiracial girl, and my father did know about it, and my brothers did know about it, and they were livid with me all the time. They were upset with me. They were insulting me. They were disrespecting to me. They were unsympathetic to me. They didn't really want me to be around. They felt embarrassed by me. They felt like I betrayed the religion. I'm betraying the family name. I'm like sort of putting a stain on the family name, in the community. So with Mandy, I just don't even bother. My mother knows who she is, but I just don't bother. It's just not necessary. And so, I don't know what else I can really say. She kind of, she eats chicken. She doesn't eat meat. She doesn't really eat very healthy. She's often ordering KFC or chicken licken or something like that. I've managed to get her onto wheatgrass, and she does sort of the coffee enemas as well, which are great. And so, but she's not health inclined. It's like there's no such thing as health. The only thing that health is just to have a sexy body. That's just to look, whatever sexy. That's it. There's no such thing as health. It doesn't exist for most of the people in this country. For the Africans, there's no such thing as health. Health doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's just no such thing as it. It's not in their consciousness. For most, I mean, diabetes here is ridiculous. Like it's out of hand, and there's no care. There's just no care for it. There's not much of a value for life, and I've learned a lot. I mean, there's so much to be said on for myself with the black culture that I've learned about, Zulu culture, the Xhosa culture, the Lesotho culture, it's not the people from Lesotho, but the Sothos, and so on and so forth, and the Malawians, the Nigerians, the Pedis, I don't know all the cultures, but like I've paid attention and I've looked at the African culture and I've seen, I've understood it, not understood it, but I've thought about it a hell of a lot and seen it and understand a lot of the problems. And again, I feel if it wasn't for the white people in this country, that the ANC current government would destroy the people of this country one shot. The only thing stopping the people from annihilating, the government from annihilating their own people, it's funny how that works, is the white people in this country, if you ask me. Otherwise, this country would be absolutely finished, and your average citizen on the street would have been out of a job. I don't know what, there would be civil, I don't know what would have happened. But, and I know that sounds very controversial and dare you say it, but I think it's the truth. Alright folks, I'm getting tired, so I'll leave it at that for now. There's much more to be said on it, but my whole point of this talk was really about, like, for conscious individuals, free thinking, free spirited, wanting to get out of their comfort zones, explore, imaginative, passionate, interested, curious about life. Most people in your life, they're not going to meet your quota. They're not going to meet where you're holding, because they themselves are just rinse and repeat, one-dimensional, and can't bring much to the table. Can't be innovative in your life, can't challenge you in many ways, can't stimulate you in many ways, unless it's just with, challenge you or not to get angry, to learn more patience or whatever it is. But they can't really bring depth, richness to your life, and they can't really support you. They can't, like with Mandy, she can't do any admin. I'm all the admin, She's very seldomly helping me think and solve problems in on the day-to-day levels with Nigerian landlords, with stock or whatever it is. She just doesn't have the capability. She won't phone to find out if we need to, let's say we moved house, so we're renting a new place. She'll walk in, she can stay in a one-bedroom apartment. No problem, as long as it's got a TV. She doesn't need more than that. But for me, I need a garden. I need bigger space. I need a bit of a view. I need openness. I need, I don't want to be on top of, that's just who I am. I don't want people below me, above me, next to me in an apartment. But for her, she's fine. She walks in, she lies down on the couch, on the bed, she's got the TV, she's got the cell phone. What else do you need? You got the kitchen over there, you got your microwave over there, you got your fridge over there. What else more do you need? For me, I need much more. I need so much more. And so for her, she's very easygoing in that way. But for me, I need more. And so what I'm saying is that, like in the admin, when you're working with people, they're not going to really come to the party. They're not going to really help you solve things. They're not going to be innovative. They're not going to be able to compete with you, to stimulate you, to engage with you on a deep level, and just bring something to the table. In my life, majority of people have not brought very much of anything to the table. And that's my experience, and that's been my experience. And that's what the message of this video is about, is just to be realistic and look in your own life and honor how tough it is and how hard it is, because of the people that can't really bring much to the table, right? For whatever reasons they may be, that may be. All right, folks, thanks for listening. And we'll chat soon. Take care.